You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here for the next 2 hours on a Wednesday. As the weather's a little bit warmer here today.
Yeah, stuff's melting.
We hit the
sun's out.
That part's kind of nice.
Yeah, the melting part's nice.
Last night, I'm trying to take the trash cans out to the curb, and I'm like, where do I put these? Because there's just 2 feet of snow everywhere.
The same thing, yeah.
Everywhere you look. But a little bit sunnier here today. It is a Wednesday. We have got plenty to get to. Our schedule's still a little convoluted as it's only our second show of the week, but it is a Wednesday. So, Matt, I figured we would lead off here with an exercise that we typically do on Tuesdays, but just to kind of get us started here on Wednesday, how about we take a look at these power rankings now that Week 15 is in the book?
Yep.
And, Matt, I know you're shocked by this, but in the basement, once again, is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, they're just making a stronger and stronger case. I mean, their numbers in that past game, like first downs didn't happen, yardage didn't happen. I mean, ridiculously bad. And they don't have talent. I mean, they're really in a bad spot.
They are. I guess maybe the only good news is they're on track to get the first overall pick.
Right.
But
I mean, if you throw one of those two quarterbacks in that situation.
Good luck. That's exactly where I was going.
I know.
I would almost be like, I'm trading down.
Yeah.
Give me a top 10 offensive or defensive lineman. Give me another first-round talent somewhere.
A first-rounder for next year and maybe go get the guy that year,
right.
You know?
Because
it's unsavable with one quarterback.
Even if it was,
you're setting him up for failure.
Even if it was a Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, Joe Burrow type prospect, right, I would still be hesitant to plop them into that situation.
I know. And these guys aren't. I mean, right. Mendoza and Moore
they're
fine,
not.
But they're not like that.
They're not.
That no-brainer, never pass up on them.
No doubt. And we'll get to that more in hour number 2. We'll do a little around campus today as well.
That's the thing. Like hockey and basketball, you just take LeBron or Lemieux or Crosby or whatever. We'll figure it out. But here, it's like, I'm going to ruin them.
You can break these guys real quick.
So
you can
easily,
David Carr these guys real quick.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation for the Raiders right now. And then at number 31, staying here, I think you and I agree, but they're in a much better situation. It's the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if they'd be 31. I mean, they play hard, and they're playing better than some of the junk teams. I might have the Jets 31. Jets have been pretty terrible lately.
I might have the Giants 31.
Yeah, they're pretty bad too.
It's a lot of splitting hairs. Again,
they're all bad.
Between bad hairs there. But the Giants, remember way back to that Thursday nighter at home against the Eagles and what was kind of the Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby party. They've lost 8 straight since then.
I know.
And at least if you're the Titans, you're like, hey, we've got Cam Ward, we've got some guys on our defensive line.
Yeah.
We're in a good spot.
Like, I wouldn't mind being the GM at Titans.
I think that's probably the best way to put it to me. If you would say of all these bottom 5 or 6 or 7 teams, if you had to be the GM of one starting tomorrow.
Raiders is my last choice. Browns is real low on the list.
Browns is very low on the list.
Except they have 2 first-round picks. Jets at least have a lot of picks,
and the Jet, I think number 1 for me is obviously Tennessee.
Yes.
Number 2,
of all those teams
number 2 is probably the Jets, just because they've got a ton of assets.
Yeah, they at least have an offensive line.
And you've got some young pieces on that offensive line that you can build around.
I just don't love Dart, but if you were someone, and I understand the people that do, if you love Dart, they don't need a ton.
That's fair.
The
defense could easily be much better.
Neighbors comes back.
They've got some nice pieces on the offensive line. Andrew Thomas. Yeah.
It's not terrible. I just don't love Dart.
Same. If you like Dart, I don't think you're crazy. If you love Dart, I think you might be. But,
yeah. No, I get both sides. I mean, I'm not set in stone that he's going to stink forever.
Sure.
I lean towards he would not be the guy I build around.
I lean towards at best he might be I don't know who's a good example. Jalen Hurts. And
that's not bad.
That guy's a Super Bowl champion and an MVP, but
I mean, his supporting cast was so good.
Yes,
right.
Yes. Number 30 is the Giants. 29 is the Jets. The MetLife portion there towards the bottom of the list.
Jets are playing terrible football right now.
They've done the Cancun on 3 thing to quote Arthur Moats. They are booking their January plans.
Miami crushed them 2 weeks ago.
I mean,
crushed. They're playing Brady Cook.
It looked like the varsity team scrimmaging the JV team.
Yeah. And Jacksonville
yanked the running back out of here in the second quarter. Don't get him hit anymore.
Yes, Jacksonville did a number on him too.
28 is the Cleveland Browns. I think that they're
They at least have a defense.
I think they're the best of these teams because they at least have a defense. But, man, they look like another team that's started to think about their January vacation plans.
Yeah, and their pressure rate allowed is worst in the league. And the Chargers are gaining on them quick because they don't have anybody, but they're the two worst by far. So it's really hard to evaluate Sanders or anyone for that matter because they can't block anybody right now. I mean, to me, those are the two teams, the Chargers and Browns, that just don't block anybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Chargers are overcoming it somehow.
Because Herbert's a genie.
Yeah, and everything else around them is much better than what the Browns have.
Number 27, staying put, as they have lost 11 of their last 12 games. The Arizona Cardinals.
I still think they're better than these other teams.
They've got some pieces. Trey McBride is top 5 tight end in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Having a huge year.
And they've got
shut a lot of guys down.
And they've got some capital.
Yeah. Right.
They're another one of those, I think, if they made the right hire, if they hit the right buttons in the offseason, not that they're going to, win 9 or 10 games and contend for a playoff spot, but I think that they could be a non-disaster, a non-pushover in 2026.
So it's weird, and I'm not doing this to try to get everybody psyched up, but I did a mailbag podcast today, and one of the questions was, who are teams that are picking later, like in the second half of the first round, that could trade up to like number 1 or number 2, like the Eagles did for Wentz, or that year was Goff. And then they said, is there any other sleeper teams that could trade to the very top for a quarterback?
You're not talking like the Chiefs did to go to, 10 or 11 and get Mahomes?
In that vein, but more
the
like...
The Eagles-Wentz example is a good one.
Yeah. I mean, they took them 2 trades to do it, know?
Same with Buffalo to get Allen, right? But he was 7th overall, which is still a little bit further back.
I mean, I'm trying to read the tea leaves of this draft because I think there's only going to be 2 quarterbacks, and they're going to both go top 5. I mean... You're on top of this.
Agreed. I think Ty Simpson could be the 3rd, but there's still some wait and see with that.
Where Allen and Mahomes were in much better classes, you could go to 7, 10, 11. But anyway, the only team I could come up with was the Steelers. I mean, to be honest, like someone that's picking like a playoff type team that would make the huge splash, go all the way to 2, 3, 1, whatever. But I also threw the Cardinals in there. Like the Cardinals end up with the 8th or 9th pick.
Sure.
They could be the Bryce Young team that goes from 10 to 1.
Totally.
And I would understand it for them.
Same here.
It's not the worst infrastructure to go into.
It would make sense for them in terms of, listen, we don't think about this much in Pittsburgh, but some teams like strike while the iron's hot, sell some more tickets, sell some more jerseys, get some more butts and seats.
They need to think about that there.
Like I remember telling you when the Colts came here and they were 7-1 at that point, I think the Colts were, or 7-2, something like that. And this was before the Sauce trade, like talking with their broadcast guys and them being like, we're trying to strike while the iron's hot this year. Like we're putting out more content than ever. Teams being more aggressive than ever because we got to.
It's a weird world to not be in the same world, to have to do that, but whatever.
And we see that,
I mean, they're businesses. People forget these are businesses, right? They're 32 individual businesses.
That's why the Pittsburgh Pirates have 50 bobblehead nights every year because you got to do something. You got to do fireworks. You got to do something to get the butts in the seats. Number 26 is the Washington Commanders. Matt,
they're pretty terrible right now.
They're pretty terrible. They are, I think, another team that is, if you have a good offseason, you could turn this around pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But that defense is old, and they need a lot of retooling.
They need a lot of defense, but they have a quarterback too.
They do.
I don't know if I'd have them over Arizona. They're both pretty terrible.
This team at 25, I might have a spot or 2 higher, although I'm looking at the teams above them, and I think it might be fair. But how about the New Orleans Saints?
I like that they're this high. I mean, most people just look at them like, oh, they're terrible. They're playing hard.
They're playing hard. All right. They're winning games. The games that they lose, it doesn't look like a Jets loss. It doesn't look like a Raiders loss. Like they're still competitive in their losses.
I think Kellen Moore's done a good job as head coach there.
Same here.
And I think Shuck will be the starting quarterback next year.
I think he will too, and that is good news for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Number 24, the Atlanta Falcons.
They showed a little signs of life lately, but it's been a bad year.
They're a weird one.
They're a weird one.
Because, like, what do you do with Kyle Pitts? What do you do with your quarterback situation? You don't have a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Bijan's right in his absolute prime, one of the best handful of players in football right now. Do you build around that? It's just there's no easy answer for
London
Atlanta.
Being out's really hurt them, too, because they don't have other wide receivers. I mean, they do have pass catchers in Bijan and Pitts. But
Bengals checking in at 23. After some feel good against the Ravens on Thanksgiving, it's kind of gone backwards these past couple weeks, and all the, Joe Burrow cryptic comments.
Would you have the Bengals or Dolphins higher? Wasn't the best performance by the Dolphins. They just benched 2-0, by the way.
I was going to say I'd probably go with the team that didn't just bench their starting quarterback.
That's kind of what I was thinking, too. Like, they're going to roll out Ewers. They're probably only going to go backwards on this list.
And I don't know if you saw some of the numbers today, but it's basically like it costs the Dolphins just as much to cut Tua in dead cap money as it does to keep them next year. Like, they are...
It'd be worse than Russell Wilson with the Broncos, which has been the worst dead hit in NFL history.
They might be neck and neck with the Cleveland Browns in terms of the worst quarterback situation in the NFL right now.
100% agree. So, this conversation, Tua was the topic of the day in terms of other podcasts and stuff. That's the biggest national news for the day. Matt, what would you do with the Dolphins? And I rarely take this attempt, but I'd strip it for parts. I mean, I would tank. I hate the word tank. Dale and I used to hate the word tank. But, I mean, I would trade Waddle. I would trade Achan. I would trade Minka.
So you don't mean like these last 3 games?
No,
tank.
I'm talking
You're
about
talking
this
in
offseason.
2026.
Right. You already fired the GM.
You would tear it down to build it back up.
I think you're getting a new head coach. I think I would go and get every draft pick I possibly can and try to be picking at the top of next year's draft when there's quarterbacks.
Anyone who's not going to be around in 2, 3, 4 years, get rid of them.
I mean, the Minkas of the world,
that are going to be
Chubb,
on the other side of 30.
Yeah, and I rarely take that approach because I think that does irreparable harm to a locker room, and just killing the winning culture is never a good idea. Not that they have a great winning culture, but whatever you built. But, man, they're really financially strapped. Tyreek gone, all those type of dudes. I think I would go down to nothing and try to just eat your vegetables this upcoming year. Yeah. And one brutal year.
At least they have some of these teams that are in this situation don't have any assets, don't have any parts that they can strip off and sell.
That's why the Raiders is the worst job ever.
The Dolphins, I mean, you've got some. If you were to fire sale that thing, you'd have some really attractive.
You'd pick some stuff up, right?
You'd have a lot of people stopping at your yard sale to bargain with you
I'll
about
give you
that lazy boy sitting over there and that beer fridge, and they're in really good condition.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like I got some change in my pocket.
Minnesota Vikings at 21 won a couple games here. J.J. McCarthy showing some life. They're not completely going in the tank.
They'd be better than anyone mentioned.
Are they another one of those teams that could trade from the middle of the draft up to the top 5 to get a quarterback?
I think, that's another conversation we had today.
Depends how McCarthy looks on these last couple weeks.
I mentioned him more than any other quarterback of that one. Let's see the rest of the year play out because it's been better the last couple weeks. He has so little experience. Yeah, I don't. If he could play like this,
you'd run it back.
I'd run it back with him and Andy Dalton, or some mentor type.
Number 20, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow, amazing.
The lowest that they have been probably since.
I mean, especially if we factor that Mahomes not the quarterback.
No doubt.
Then yeah,
and even some of these teams behind them, they might be favored over the Chiefs. Like if the Vikings and the Chiefs played this weekend, I bet you the Vikings are favored slightly.
That's almost how I started the response when you said the Chiefs. I'm like, oh, but they'd be favored over everybody else. I'm like, well, not now.
Now they wouldn't be.
Yeah, last week they would have been. Yeah, big favorites.
19, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they're kind of dwindling a little bit.
Dangerous, but dwindling.
Yeah,
I mean, they can still knock off somebody and play a big factor in this thing down the stretch, but ain't looking good, bruv.
Yeah.
Although they're another one. Right off season, and they could.
I think they're going to be good next year.
Yeah,
I think Pickens will get franchised or extended. Draft defense like crazy. They get some extra picks too. They could be right in the mix.
Some of the trades of starting to bear fruit for them.
Yeah, good young O-line.
Number 18, Matt, unable to take advantage of the Buccaneers' loss. It's the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, it's Carolina or Tampa. I mean. Who's worse right now?
Tampa's
who's better
at 17.
Right now?
I think that's good. Like
I'd have them right next to each other.
They play 2 times here in the next 3 weeks. It's going to set up to be a lot of fun in that regard.
That part's cool, yeah.
That part's great. Same with the Packers and the Bears, or got the second half of that. I'm going to give the Bucs the edge because of the experience, because of the quarterback.
That's what I was going to say too. Is they could the Bucs could at least convince me in the next 3 weeks that they could win a playoff.
They
game.
Find something.
Yeah. Like I remember that team. They're just in a bad place right now. Where Carolina, they could win out, and I'm not going to pick them to win in round 1.
Agreed.
There's no way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
16, the Indianapolis Colts. Matt,
it's kind of a weird one.
Life comes at you fast in the National Football League.
The fact that they were competitive in Seattle, I give him some credit for. I mean, he can't throw anymore,
No.
but what he did from the neck up was pretty remarkable.
It's a crazy. I mean, the Colts and the Bucks were top 5 in the power rankings at points.
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
Yeah.
And now they are down closer to 20. 15, the Baltimore Ravens. A much-needed response for them, from them.
Yeah.
And, hey.
That's the neighborhood they're in right now.
Their next 2 weeks are really tough.
They are.
New England, a Patriots team that's going to now be pissed off and looking to stick with the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to go to Lambeau. And what will be a Packers team that is likely going to have plenty to play for as well.
Oh, of course. Now, Lamar definitely looked his best of any day since his injury.
Yes.
So that's encouraging.
Yes.
But I still think both their lines are not good enough.
14, the Steelers' upcoming opponent, the Detroit Lions.
I would have the Lions ahead of the Steelers.
Yeah.
I still think the Lions are awfully good. They're just something. I mean, they're like the number 1 offense in the league. I mean, they have some defensive injuries. I know they're on the outside looking in, but without Micah Parsons, are they a better team than the Packers? Like, just for power. No, I don't care about the math and how you get in. Just like on a neutral field.
I don't know. Like 30,000 foot.
They're pretty darn good.
30,000 foot view, I would say yes, because I think they're pretty darn good too.
Right.
But they've just lost so many close games this year.
I know.
That it's almost become like the Chiefs thing of like, I know who you are, I know what you are, but you got to show it.
Yeah, you do.
You know,
they've won so many games the last couple of years. I give them the benefit of the doubt.
Totally.
Like, I still think they can win the Super Bowl. I mean, if you paint a little bit of a rosy picture, I mean, they may not get in. I understand that.
Sure.
But
they have the roster build and the makeup to absolutely go on a run. I agree with you on that.
They're a little better the last couple of years than this year, but I still think they're dangerous.
They are definitely dangerous.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. And the Steelers check in at 13, just one spot ahead of them.
I'd just probably flip those two, but no biggie.
I think that's the right range for all these teams. Detroit, Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
Last 2 weeks have definitely helped the Steelers, obviously.
The Eagles checking in at number 12.
Defense is really good. I think the offense is sort of broke. Hurts has really hurt them, and they're very predictable. Lane Johnson being out. This seems low for them.
Is Lane Johnson going to be back, or is he done
I don't
for
know.
the year?
I'm sitting here thinking the same thing. I'm not sure.
They needed what they needed to do and beat up on a really bad Raiders team.
Yeah, I said last week didn't show me anything.
That just shows me that they can still hang around.
Mm-hmm.
What their ultimate ceiling is, I have no idea, but I think you're right. A lot of that circles around, depends upon the form, the play of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, which worries me a little bit.
Number 11, the Chargers. 3 straight wins.
I might have a couple of these teams ahead of the Chargers.
They're another one that are tough for me, but they're, despite every reason not to, they keep finding ways to win games. And
I think their coach and quarterback are really good at what they do.
Agreed.
Yeah, and that goes a long way.
Very, very much agreed. Number 10, they might be Matt and I's pick in the AFC right now if we had to do it. Matt might have some cheddar on these guys to win the AFC. It's the Houston Texans.
Yeah. It just power ranks. They would be number 1 for me in the AFC. I think they're the best team in the AFC right now. Now, I understand why people don't rank them that way. You know,
they certainly have the best defense in the AFC right now, which is
clearly,
we know that travels, and we know that that's huge part of the equation this time of year. Number 9 is those Green Bay Packers. That might be a little high for me.
It might be a little high considering the losses they just sustained. You know,
I mean they're already down Kraft. Parsons is going to be out for the rest of the year. Watson's hurt. Zach Tom is hurt. Quay Walker's hurt.
Ooh,
Evan Williams is hurt.
Yeah, he's a really good safety. People don't know about. They're getting hit hard at the wrong time.
They are getting hit hard at the wrong time.
Yeah,
very good way to put it. If they're completely healthy, they're
a different story.
They're a top 3 or 4 team in the league, but they are
them
not
and the
completely
Chiefs
healthy.
Dropped at least a tier this past week, if not 2.
I'm with you on that. The Niners stay at number 8. I mean, Brock Purdy, probably his best performance of the season. Ricky Pearsall emerging, having a big nearly 100-yard day. George Kittle looks back to form. I don't think the Niners can win the Super Bowl, but I think they're a really dangerous team that they've got the culture of been there, done that in the postseason a lot of times. They just know how to win games.
Yeah.
They're going to be a very tough – they're that classic, that proverbial very tough out. Come the playoffs.
They could definitely win a game or 2.
They're that
a lot of defensive injuries all year.
They're that feisty mid-major that you don't want to see in the second round. You're Duke or Kentucky, and you're like, man, I really don't want to see Mercer. Those guys can scrap. Those guys can play defense. Those guys will run with us for 40 minutes. I don't think they're going to win a natty, but they could knock somebody off who could.
Yeah, well, they definitely could. In the NFC, though, I think I'd have San Fran ahead of Green Bay.
Yes.
I might have Detroit over both.
Ooh.
I know Detroit's done this weird thing. For 10 games, they've gone win-loss, 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 win-loss. Yeah, right. I mean, it's... But
on paper, I certainly think they're more talented right now.
On their best day is better than either one of those teams' best days.
Number 7.
I don't see it much.
I think you might sing a similar tune. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars, fresh off of 5 straight wins.
I'm starting to become a believer. I mean, Lawrence is playing great. I think the coach is doing a tremendous job. Jacoby Myers was like the exact puzzle piece they needed to complete everything. Defense is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got the Broncos this weekend. That one, I think, will tell us a lot about both teams.
Yes.
Number 6, highest we've seen them in a long time. Da Bears.
That's funny.
Checking in here close to the top 5.
I always put the Bears and Jags like right next to each other. Yeah. And I think that's a
similar
good spot for 'em.
situations.
Yep.
Quarterback trying to find its way.
Yeah.
First-time head coach.
Absolutely. They've not won a lot lately.
Exceeding expectations, ahead of schedule. Just get to the playoffs, and everything else is money in the bank. Number 5, into the top 5, dropping just 1 spot after blowing a big lead to their division foe, the Buffalo Bills. It's the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I wouldn't crush them for that loss. I mean,
they were due.
They were due.
Like,
they started strong. They couldn't close. That's about where they belong. I'd have them over the last 2 teams you mentioned.
And I almost, if I was a Patriots fan, which makes me want to throw up on myself saying that out loud, I almost think that might have been a good thing for them.
Yeah, maybe. Like this doesn't come as easy as you guys think, young pups. You know, right? Yeah.
This was not going to be we're going to win 14 games and waltz to the Super Bowl from being where we were the last 2 years to that. Like there's got to be some road bumps.
That's a playoff type game.
There's got to be some road bumps along the way. You got to take your medicine. You got to learn your lessons. Every young ascending team in every sport has to do that.
I bet Vrabel's eating it up.
Before they can get over it.
Yeah.
You get your team. They the last 10 weeks they've been winning, and they walk into the team meeting on Monday.
All these rookies like, the NFL's easy, right?
This is great. And now it's like, sit up in your chair and pay attention, all right? Because now it's starting to get more difficult. I think that might be the
Josh Allens of the world, yeah.
Hey, they would have loved to have clinched the division and in the home playoff game and all that, but I think that loss might go a long way for them.
I need to see who the Patriots play this week, but as you talk through that, I'm like, I bet they win big if it's just an average opponent.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Oh.
That's
a good time that's good for the Steelers. That's a good time.
In Baltimore, I think
it is in Baltimore, yeah.
Because then Baltimore goes to Lambeau. So, yes, it is in Baltimore. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, they're hot.
Again, they are not the most complete team.
No.
They are not the most talented team, but they have 2 things going for them. 1, they're built for this time of year.
Yes, finally.
And 2, they got
the best guy.
If I was starting an NFL franchise right now to head into January and head into the postseason, that's my first pick.
Yeah.
Is Josh Allen.
Which might be enough this year.
No Mahomes.
Right.
No Burrow. You could have no Lamar.
Right. That's pretty nice.
And if
he's a superstar.
I mean, if you get Bills Steelers round 1, one of those MVP quarterbacks is going home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're starting to look around if you're Buffalo, and it's been a weird season, and you're not nearly as confident in your team as you've been at other points in recent years.
You might like your chances better.
But you might be looking around at your neighbors and going, you know what? Like, our front yard, it's not the nicestly landscaped it's ever been, but it's looking better than Tom, Dick, and Harry down the street.
Right, and I get to snap at the Josh every time.
That's right. And I got the best grass cutter. I got the best groundskeeper in the entire neighborhood here. Number 3, the Seattle Seahawks. They drop 1 spot. I don't know if I agree with that, but they take care of business. It was a nail-biter over the Colts. Hey, that's a good team. The Colts are not what we thought they were a couple months ago, but they're still a good team.
And they were desperate.
A lot to play for. That's another one for Seattle that I think the way that played out, that's probably better for them than winning by 21 points.
Maybe.
Find a way to, the other team takes a lead with a minute left. We find a way to get that ball down the field, kick a field goal, and win. Like, I think that's a good playoff type, low scoring, don't blink game for Seattle.
Yeah, and we'll find out a lot about them tomorrow night. Which is a great one. Yeah,
I can't wait for Seahawks.
I don't know if I would Denver ahead of Seattle. I assume the Rams are 1.
Rams are 1, Broncos are 2.
Broncos are playing quite well. What are they on, like 11-game winning streak? I mean, that's hard to argue with.
It's hard to argue.
Yeah.
The one thing for Denver that really is starting to make me think, okay, they could win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl is Drake May is playing better.
Knicks. Yeah, right. We were just talking about
other guy. Sorry, Bo Nix is playing better.
I think that was the best game he's ever played.
I think
and he's starting to get it.
I think at times this season they were kind of carrying him along.
Oh,
Not
definitely.
that he was weighing the team down, but he wasn't
It was
elevated.
rocky
He
and
wasn't.
young
He
and,
wasn't
yeah.
a high tide that was raising any ships either.
Definitely not. They were kind of not. They were winning in spite of him, but they weren't winning because of him.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, hey, 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think Bo Nix is
starting to turn a corner.
heating up and turning a corner at the right time.
Yeah.
And then number one, I think you and I have been on this same page for a while now. I think the team that we would both pick to win the Super Bowl if we had to today, the 11-3 Los Angeles Rams, who took care of the desperate Detroit Lions this past weekend.
We'll bring it up tomorrow, but I was a little shocked to hear today that they're a dog in Seattle tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Seattle short week. Devontae Adams is probably going to play, but still, I think I would take points with them against anybody anywhere right now.
What was it, 1.5?
It was only like 1.5. It's a small number.
Not
but
surprising.
Yeah, right.
Slight home field advantage for Seattle.
Yeah.
But
although they're better on the road than at home.
That's true. It's a very good point. The Rams right now they got it all going on.
I think they're complete.
They got the quarterback, they got the trenches, they got the playmakers, they got the coaching staff. They're complete.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams hamstring injury, but still relatively healthy. Like that doesn't seem like it's something that's going to keep him out.
If this was on a
long
Sunday
term.
or Monday, he probably plays, or
Sure.
at least is in consideration.
Or if the Rams are playing the Raiders on Thursday Night Football, you're like, let them rest. It's fine. Just get right for the stretch run here. But I don't think either of us have any problem with the Rams being number one.
No, I think they're pretty easy number one at this point.
That is our power rankings here. Week 15 in the books, looking ahead to Week 16. We will get back into some Steelers specifics with our buddy Chris Halicke when we return on the other side. Just getting started here on a Wednesday. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Rolling along here on a Wednesday, into the phone lines we go to talk to our buddy Chris Halicke, of course, covers the Steelers for DK Pittsburgh Sports. Chris, thank you for taking the time. As always, buddy, let's jump right into it here. You're a reporter. I mean, you are, a beat writer, to use an old term. You are around the team, the locker rooms, the practices, all that, obviously much more than Matt and I are. So just kind of a 30,000-foot vibe check to get us started here. I got to imagine that that the atmosphere, that the energy around the locker room, around practice is much different this week and recently than it had been, say, maybe after that Buffalo Bills game.
Oh, yeah, of course. The guys feel pretty good about themselves, but I don't see this has been pretty consistent, not just this season, but over my time and covering the team, which has been since 2022, and they stay pretty even keeled. Mike Tomlin does a pretty good job of keeping the team from riding the emotional roller coaster. And I've seen 2-6 starts in 2022, and I've seen this type of a season where it's just up and down, up and down, up and down, and but they've remained pretty even keeled the entire way. It's not really been anything crazy. Where you're seeing after like that Bills game, you're seeing guys walking around with long faces and hanging their heads, and you're also not seeing parties in the locker room after winning 2 straight either. But overall, yeah, the vibes are good. There's energy, and you hope that it can carry on, especially into what's going to be a really difficult matchup on the road.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really difficult matchup, and having Derek Harmon back, I think, would go a long way. You feeling good about him being a starter again in Detroit? And how do you see the defense with and without him? I mean, I know everyone knows the rushing numbers are crazy skewed with and without him, but how do you see the ripple effects or his value?
I mean, listen, I think one of the things about Derek Harmon that they loved whenever he was coming out of Oregon, this is like before they even drafted him,
Mm-hmm.
was just how smart of a football player he is. And it's not just, understanding his role on the defensive line or just on the defensive front in general, but it's also what he does when he understands his role in the 1 out of 11. He understands what he needs to do for all 11 guys on the defensive side of the ball to do their job. And sometimes it takes NFL players years to understand something like that. And the fact that he can come in as a rookie and understand that, I think that's one of the reasons why the defense in general has been so much better with him against the run, because he doesn't, abandon gaps. He holds his ground. He's a smart football player. He understands where he needs to be to make the linebackers' jobs easier. I feel, in terms of his availability, I feel a lot better about him playing this week. The fact that Mike Tomlin in his press conference yesterday said that he was probably healthy enough to play against the Dolphins on Monday night. That's usually a really good indication, as long as he has no setbacks in practice this week, that he'll be playing on Sunday. Now, we have yet to see the practice report today. They pushed back everything an hour today. That's usually pretty typical after a Monday night game, for them to push practice and everything else back on Wednesday back an hour. So it'll be a little bit later today when we see that. But either way, I feel pretty good about him playing, and it'll be a big boost, especially knowing that they have to play a Detroit Lions team that has Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. It's a really good duo that they have at running back.
Yeah. Certainly, and kind of sticking with the trenches there, and as it relates to Detroit, but spinning the block. Chris, I thought it was a outstanding performance from Dylan Cook on Monday Night Football against the Dolphins. We know Detroit's very talented in the trenches, both sides of the ball, but certainly defensively as well. Andres Pete status still up in the air, but I got to think we're all pretty confident if they have to run it back with Dylan Cook in Detroit on Sunday.
And Chris, if Pete were healthy, do you think he would immediately become the starter again, or is that up for debate?
I think it's at least up for debate at this point. I don't think it's an automatic thing where Pete just gets the nod no matter what. I think if Dylan Cook goes out there and he gives up 7 or 8 pressures and really, really struggles, I think it's usually a pretty good, pretty easy decision for Mike Tomlin to be like, okay, let's go with the veteran. But when he plays the way he plays, and listen, we've seen it happen this season when players step in and take advantage of their opportunity to play. We've seen it with James Pierre, with Nick Herbig. When guys play really well, they earn elevated roles. And if Dylan Cook, if Andres Pete is not going to be able to go, or at least if he doesn't, get a chance to clear protocol until later in the week, then maybe that's a decision where Mike Tomlin's got to scratch his head a little bit and see, well, should we go with Dylan again? The fact that he's making it even a decision is just indicative of how well he played. And I don't think it's as easy of a decision as, okay, Pete cleared the protocol, okay, let's put him back in. No, I think you have to seriously consider, like, all right, let's see him do it again.
How do you decipher the wide receiver pecking order and usage at the moment?
Well, obviously DK's at the top,
right.
And after that, I would call Adam Thielen probably WR2 right now, based off of snap count and usage, even though the volume of targets isn't exactly there. The usage, how much they trust him to run routes correctly, how much they trust him in run blocking and things like that. I think.
And he was out there quite a bit with 2 receiver sets.
Yeah, so I think he's your de facto WR2 right now. And then I think after that, it's kind of this mixture of, it depends on what we want to do. If we want to attack deep, MVS is going to go out there. Then we can have two deep threats. And then it's just, pick your poison. I mean, it's, we're going to go out there with 12 personnel. Okay, well, the 2 receivers are going to be Metcalf and MVS, and if you're going to run too high, you're going to take that away. Okay, well, great. Now you're going to open up the middle of the field for the tight ends, which we saw the Steelers do against the Dolphins. The one play I think that's just really indicative of that was the RPO that Rodgers threw to Freiermuth for 22 yards. But then it depends. You might want something where you want to utilize some speed underneath, and that could be Calvin Austin. So I think after that, it depends on what they want to do. I think it's more based off of schematics and what they're expecting from the opposing defense. I don't think it's as solidified, but I think you're going to see MVS continue to get opportunities. You're going to see Calvin Austin continue to get opportunities. So, but I would say that the clear number 2 right now is probably Adam Thielen.
So real quick, to piggyback off that, just kind of dawned on me, and I don't know how much you've looked at the Lions, but I'm halfway into my prep as usual on Wednesday. But they play with their base defense 4-3-3-4. Four defensive backs on the field, more than any team in the league.
Yeah, I was actually just looking that up.
Yeah, so I mean that's what they want to do. Do you think the Steelers might try more 3 wide? It's not what they
listen,
do.
they could.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not what they do, but that they could. I mean,
Yeah.
in theory, it's not like that. Yeah, the Steelers don't run a lot of 11 personnel compared to the rest of the league.
No, they're last. Right.
But the percentage is still high. It's still what do
They
they
still
run
do a
more
lot
than
of it.
anything?
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah.
It
What do they do more than anything else? They're in 11 personnel more than anything else. But yeah, that doesn't mean that they, use 13 personnel more than any other team except for the Rams or anything like that. But no, that they still run a healthy dose of 11 personnel. It's just not as much as the rest of the league is. But so that they have it, they have the ability to do it. And now, when you have DK Metcalf and Adam Thielen and MVS and Calvin Austin and, Scotty Miller possibly, you've got some receivers that you could probably trust a little bit more. Listen, I keep bringing up Scotty Miller, and I understand he hasn't been talked about a lot or he's really gotten targets or anything, but I feel like if there's ever a time where he just kind of becomes somebody, that could possibly be depended on, it won't be the most surprising thing. This is a guy who's earned a lot of praise from, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, like two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah.
Or
and Chris Halicke.
About, yeah. So I'm just saying, like, when you talk about, somebody who, hey, Calvin Austin's out for a little bit, you need Scotty to step in. It's a game where you're going to have to do a lot more 11 personnel. Maybe Scotty can be that guy to jump in and be dependable, be a professional. But yeah, I think it's intriguing to see what the solution will be. Are we going to fight fire with fire and just, pretty much run into the teeth of what the Lions do really well? Or are you going to force them to do something a little bit different, get out of their comfort zone, or try to beat you with their base defense while you put, some smaller personnel packages on the field?
Plenty to ponder ahead of this weekend. Chris, the last one I wanted to ask you about is this Steelers secondary. And Matt and I discussed this a little bit yesterday, but just how different it's wound up shaking out than we all expected, back in July and August at training camp. Back then it was, Slay and Porter on the boundaries. It was Ramsey in the slot, but kind of as a jack of all trades as well. And then you had Elliott and Thornhill playing at safety.
Not to mention how different it was even from what they finished 2024
Absolutely.
with. They made a ton of changes just to get to the point that you brought up. Right.
And then, that has all changed now to be Ramsey back at safety with Kyle Duggar, who was acquired mid-season. Joey Porter Jr. kind of being the one mainstay there, but now with Eccles and Asante Samuel Jr. playing every defensive snap.
Pierre's played great.
Pierre has played outstanding.
Yeah.
Chris, it hasn't obviously, shaken out the way that any of us thought, but man, I think for how much they've had to overturn that group, I think they've found the right formula and found it at the right time.
Yeah, they might have figured it out finally after a lot of trial and error. Yeah.
Well, I think when the results were as bad as they were, and I really think back to those games against the Bengals and Packers, when it got as bad as it was, and it got exposed that, listen, this is not going to work. Now, Mike Tomlin could have continued to ram his head into a brick wall and be like, no, this is going to work. He could have been stubborn about it, or he could have just decided, you know what, we got to change some things up. Well, they changed some things up, and now they're not as predictable as they were, even last season, playing a lot of spot drop cover 3 or doing the things that they're doing this year, where sometimes they go into games, they run a lot of too high. Other times they'll go into games and go back to playing a lot of single high and man. It'll be interesting to see, what they do, each week, that they're kind of keeping you guessing a little bit. And that's what defenses should be doing, and credit to Tomlin, credit to Terrell Lawson for doing that. And, to have to overhaul the secondary the way they have, not only because of injuries, but because of performance. And that requires players to be willing to say, listen, the team is bigger than me. Jalen Ramsey could have been like, screw this. I'm going to play the position I want to play. And no, but he was like, no, I'm going to move to safety and I'm fine with that. So kudos to the players for buying into what needed to be done, to the coaches for getting done what needs to get done. It's not been perfect. There have still been some weeks since then where it's been pretty rough, but ultimately it's getting better, and it's getting better at the right time. And that's, probably the most important thing. If the Steelers end up making the playoffs, winning their division, and go into the playoffs and win at least a playoff game and show some improvement, and the defense is becoming better, and that's one of the reasons why. I don't think people remember as much about like the low points of the season.
Chris, we were about to let you go, but there's one thing I've been meaning to ask you for a couple of weeks, and I don't know if anyone knows this answer, but is Elliott's season done, or is there a chance we see him in the playoffs or Week 18?
Well, I reported this on our DK Pittsburgh Sports app a few weeks ago. I want to say maybe four weeks ago or so. I reported at the time that while he hasn't been officially ruled out for the season, the overwhelming feeling on the inside was that he's probably not coming back this year.
Gotcha.
Now that was, again, it's an overwhelming feeling. If there's any player that you don't want to doubt to come back from an injury, it's Deshaun Elliott. He's motivated to play as always, but
you lean towards chances are it's probably done.
I lean toward no, and if there's any chance, it's probably going to be in the playoffs at the earliest. So no, I don't anticipate. I would not expect to see 25 again this season.
Gotcha. Well, they're better equipped to handle it now than they were.
They are certainly.
Correct.
But that is definitely still a bummer. Great stuff as always with our buddy Chris Halicke. Chris, thank you for taking the time here on a Wednesday, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you. There he goes. In the same breath as Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, The great Chris Halicke. Matt, breaking news from Ravens practice. Lamar Jackson sent home with the flu. Kept home with the flu.
He seems to get sick a lot.
You know why? I got to look at TV when I say this. Because something's going around. You guys heard about that? Something's going around, dude.
I've actually said that about Lamar for a couple of – he gets the flu or stomach stuff. I mean, a lot. I don't know.
You trying to do the Michael Jordan flu game thing or something here?
I'm sure he'll be fine.
We're going to wrap up the first hour of the show when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. We got a short segment here to close down the first hour of the show, but I did want to we got two tweets. It's kind of piggybacking off of a couple of things there that we just discussed with Chris Halicke. In the last couple days here, we've gotten a couple tweets, one from Jeff, one from Brad, and one from Doug, talking about how impressed they were with Dylan Cook. Saying that the only time, Jeff says the only time I heard his name on the broadcast was when Troy Aikman mentioned him one time to compliment him. Matt, I think that is huge for this team moving forward, especially against a team like Detroit. And you kind of accompany that with guys like Asante Samuel Jr., Joey Porter Jr., Kyle Duck, like a lot of these guys, it just feels like elevating but stepping into roles and keeping that train moving, hopping on that moving train. And for the more established guys, kind of elevating their roles here as that road is narrowing.
Obviously, that's a testament to the players and cooking specifically and all those things. But yet, folks that don't want to give coaching staffs credit, you get these guys ready quick, and get them up to speed. And being a practice squad player and a tackling dummy is a lot different than blocking Bradley Chubb for 60 snaps or whatever, you know what I mean? And all the scheme of it all and our pass pro adjustments and the mental stuff and playing next to a guy and Siamalu even left, the game. You didn't have that safety blanket to your right. It just kind of dawned on me too. Now, I don't have the stats in front of me on Cook and pressures and some of those things, pressure rate, I don't think are set in stone.
Sure.
But he did a lot of work one-on-one against Chubb.
Against a veteran pass
rusher.
Yeah,
he's a good player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not Myles Garrett. He's a good player. But I think he allowed one pressure alone against him.
It's pretty good.
Now, this week he gets Hutchinson a lot.
Hutchinson's
going to line up to that side.
This week he does get a guy who, I was going to say Myles Garrett caliber. I don't know if anybody's playing at that level right now.
But he's a tier one guy.
He's a tier one guy.
He's an all-pro.
Would have had a really good chance to win Defensive Player of the Year last year if he didn't have that gruesome leg injury. And
he's outstanding.
He's outstanding, and that's going to be a real challenge. But I think they're hitting it with the right kind of momentum and Just
But
feel
if it was
good
Jones
here.
or Pete or Cook, you're helping with Hutch.
Totally.
I mean, no doubt.
Totally.
Yeah.
Last one here before we go to break. I like this from Annie. She said, I smile when I listen to you guys talk about JPJ's improved play. I can hear Dale saying, you're allowed to get better.
Yeah, we say it a lot. People just write these guys off. 24-year-old. I mean, what were you like, 24-year-old?
You don't want to know.
Right, exactly.
I had long hair.
Yeah.
And did a lot of goofy things.
Yeah.
Yes, no doubt, as I think many of us did.
Coverage stats are another one I don't take as gospel, but I tweeted something yesterday that Pro Football Focus put out of, how they build those graphs. Well, he's in the top right corner of all corners this year in terms of just the varied coverages. I mean, go check out my timeline at Williamson NFL. I'm sure you can figure that out. But he's playing really, really well.
Very well.
Yes.
Like at an all-pro type level this last month and a half.
People throw wide receiver 1 around way too much. Like, I don't think Metcalf's a wide receiver 1. I think he's a really good player, but there's like 12 of them in the world.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Like true bona fide.
There's not 32 of them is my point, But Porter's knocking on the door being a corner 1. And there's not 32 of them in the world either.
That's a good place to be.
Yes.
Certainly. 1 hour in the books, another hour to go. We will go around campus in hour number 2. We've got some clarity around some of these quarterbacks and some other
We could
draft.
do a whole hour around campus this week. Yeah.
Certainly could, and some quick thoughts on the opening round of the college football playoff as well. We'll get into more conversation about the Lions in hour number 2 as we roll along. Uhler, Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 here. And Matt, it's time to go around campus.
Let's do it.
And this is going to be a little different because no games last week except for Army-Navy, which was awesome, delivered as always. Every year, I'm like, I got to get to that game. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's all Baltimore, Philadelphia, all drivable, easy. I know people got places to stay. I should have done it this year.
Bucket list for sure.
I wasn't paying attention. That's something that if I would have noticed before the season started that the Steelers were on Monday night that week,
that's the
so
time
I wouldn't
to do
have to rush home Sunday or anything. That's the time to do it. Just completely went over my head. It's almost like I got 2 young kids and a million things going on. But it is time to go around campus as we anticipate Friday night, actually. So just a little over, over 48 hours.
I forgot. Okay, we got a great game Thursday and then Friday, and there's Saturday football.
Buddy, it is one of those stretches where it's a good time to be a football fan.
Yeah, and there's good Saturday NFL stuff.
Great Saturday NFL stuff. Yeah. Good Saturday college football action. Friday night we get on the campus of Oklahoma in Norman, Alabama versus John Mateer in a rematch of the regular season in the playoffs there at the Palace on the Prairie, they call it in Norman.
Should we start with those 2 quarterbacks then?
Let's start with those 2 quarterbacks, and especially because you mentioned in the first hour how there's a really good chance it might just be Mendoza and Moore.
Yes.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think Simpson's the real wild card in there. Mm-hmm. And now there's also the possibilities. We'll talk about some of these guys that have already accepted invites to the Senior Bowl and stuff like that.
Right.
And as you know, they could always, in the next few months,
somebody will.
Somebody will. 100%.
So, I was talking today. I mean, even December 17th or whatever it is today, Mayfield, Wentz. I mean, there's a ton of guys that went really, really high.
Trey Lance
that weren't no-brainer mock draft top 5 picks yet. I mean, it's not uncommon.
Even Cam Ward, it was a little bit later in the process till he was the nailed-on number 1 pick.
Shador Ward, and then it's like time close.
Close. Yeah. Yes. So let's talk about those 2 guys, Mateer and Ty Simpson, because you mentioned, and I said Ty Simpson is the one now who feels like he could be the third.
Like the biggest wild card right now.
He's the biggest wild card in all this because a lot of these guys now, Matt, are clearly, there's still a couple up in the air, but most of these guys now are clearly going to go to the draft or going to return to school. Mm-hmm. There's a couple we're going to have to wait and see.
Most we kind of know.
We're going to have to wait and see on the playoff on some of these guys. Ty Simpson and Mateer are both two of those guys.
Two of them, yeah.
Haven't committed yet one way or the other. Haven't declared for the draft and accepted a Senior Bowl invite. Haven't said, I'm returning to school. Wait and see.
Mateer's year has not gone his way, though.
No, it hasn't.
Started strong.
It hasn't. He's one, though. if he plays really well on Friday night against Alabama.
Yeah, let's say he wins 2 games.
And then in the quarterfinal, goes to Columbus, Ohio, or wherever they would end up and play.
Yeah.
Things can change very quickly this time of year.
Yes.
But Mateer, to me, is one to keep an eye on because unless he plays a couple really good games here over the next few weeks, I would think he's coming back to school.
Like if you asked me, I mean, you're more on top of this stuff than me, but a month ago, we would have said, oh, he's going back to school.
He'll go back to school.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
Ty Simpson might be the most intriguing one from a will he, won't he, what's going on standpoint.
And from a Steelers standpoint. Yeah.
For that proverbial third quarterback who's not going to be a top 5 pick. Matt, it sounds like he's NFL draft bound.
Okay.
But there's still some talk that he could obviously return to Alabama for what would be a super senior type year. There's also, though, like this week, if you read some of the Alabama, like the Crimson Times and the Tide 24/7, like some of these reputable outlets.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smoke around he might transfer, that he could go somewhere else.
I thought I heard this. I might be 1,000% wrong, but don't they have like a massive 5-star waiting in the wings?
They do. Which is a weird spot for them to be.
It is a weird spot to be.
Because they've had some of this happen. Like Julian Sayin was that guy for Alabama.
Yeah.
And then he left to go to Ohio State because he was tired of waiting of his time, and he might be the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft. Alabama, it's a
Simpson
weird.
could go anywhere he wants, I'm sure. For
the most part, yes, absolutely. And there's also been some smoke around. Could their head coach Kalen DeBoer leave if the playoff doesn't go well for Alabama? If they're
get fired?
I don't know about get fired, but like, could he take a Michigan type job?
Okay.
Because
Alabama's
Alabama's
seat was hot like early in the season.
Not the right cultural fit, and maybe the writing's on the wall, and I'm not going to be Nick Saban, and that's never going to be good enough here.
I mean, following Saban's horrible. Horrible.
Being 10-2 and in the playoff is not good enough.
That's not good enough
when you're following Nick Saban. I mean, he went 9-3 last year, Matt, and 10-2 this year, and his seat's hot.
People don't like him.
People don't like him. Yeah. And he's not a Southern guy. He doesn't sound like Nick Saban when he talks and have that Southern gentleman charm, type thing going on.
Oh, I get it.
So Simpson is the real wild card. Could he go to the draft? Could he stay at Alabama? Could he end up transferring to another school? I think all of those things are on the table.
So I've been meaning to bring this up actually for a couple weeks, and I'm stealing it from Nate Tice. I've referenced him before. He's really good at what he does. He's over at Yahoo. His father was Mike Tice. I mean, So anyway, we all know these guys are getting money now at the college level.
Yes, they are.
However, what Tice figured out, which seems like we all should have figured this out long ago, if you're an NFL top 15 pick, you're making more than anybody else in college.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
besides from maybe the Arch Manning who's going to get $10 million, but even still,
I think you're guaranteed like 5 if you're in the top 15, which I think is, I don't know the NIL stuff well enough, but I think is more than just about anybody.
That'd be a short list.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just talking finances, going to the NFL still is more lucrative.
Yeah, and there's a longer-term contract. I mean, it's
a longer-term deal. And you get to your second contract a year earlier, which is the huge money, if you're good.
Sure.
I mean, you could be Zach Wilson and not do anything.
Absolutely.
Right.
But if you're Cam Ward, you're getting your massive payday a year earlier.
Look what Tua got, and he was
a
borderline
guy. If you're Drake May or Caleb Williams, you're getting your massive payday a year earlier.
A huge signing bonus, $50 million guaranteed or whatever.
Tua is a great example. Look what he got.
Right.
I mean, even look at the money that like Geno Smith got this offseason, and that Daniel Jones would have gotten if he wouldn't have gotten hurt.
See, I think this is mostly applicable to Simpson though, because let's say he's a consensus quarterback 3, but still a first rounder,
10 to 20 range.
Yeah, maybe he falls to wherever the Steelers are picking as his
Jackson
floor.
Dart territory.
Yeah, as his floor. Or I'm going to get some heat to transfer, whether that's true or not. And I know, and nobody wants to hear this, but next year's class is better than this year's class. I got to compete with more guys than just Moore or Mendoza. And I don't know if anyone nipping on my heels is number 4. Maybe it's not best for me. Maybe I could use experience, but I'll take the guaranteed money and be the 12th pick in the draft. It's not a bad move.
It's not a bad move.
I mean, you could sell me pretty easily if I was the Simpson family.
The Simpsons.
Simpson, eh?
Thursday night, Friday night, all day Saturday, some big games. Certainly Friday night, be keeping an eye on Oklahoma, Alabama, and the quarterbacks in particular. Fernando Mendoza, he won the Heisman. He's going to the draft. He's got a first-round bye. They're waiting their next opponent in the Orange Bowl, which will be Actually, I think it'll be the winner of this game. I think the winner of Alabama-Oklahoma will be the one that goes to the Orange Bowl to face Indiana on New Year's Day. Speaking of which, young Jacob Recht, host of the Steelers Standard, producer of the DVE Morning Show, IU grad, he was showing me he ordered this IU Rose Bowl bomber jacket. Oh, it's like that Indiana, like cream color.
Yeah.
And it's got the IU and it's got like a rose through the IU. Like it's
nice,
buddy. I said I would spend $800 on merch if WVU ever made it to a Rose Bowl. Mendoza's going to the draft in all likelihood, going to be the top pick.
Yes. Heisman. Since
Dante Moore, the other one.
He's got to lean towards going, right?
I think so, just because he's going to be QB2.
You know what I'm saying?
He's going to be a top 5 pick.
He's going to be guaranteed a top 5 pick, even if you end up in Vegas or whatever.
Like that Phil Knight money and staying at Oregon for another year, and I think
that's
Oregon.
Wonderful, but yeah.
I've told you this before. Oregon should have the best roster on paper in college football next year.
Better
their
than
rosters,
Ohio State.
They're top 10 now, and they're so young, so they should
okay.
have a vast majority of people coming back. They're going to be able to nab a couple Derek Harmon types in the portal. To come in for a year and be a first round pick and add to it.
And more aside, I mean, they have a tight end and they have a defensive tackle that could be first round picks, but they're not going to get totally crushed from the draft.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not. Again, they are, for Oregon, for being a top 10, 5th overall and in the playoff, they're actually in a better shape for 2026, especially if they get Dante Moore to return. But that's still up in the air. That's obviously going to depend on his playoff performance. They host JMU Saturday night. They're 21-point favorites at home.
Sure.
They should probably be able to roll James Madison, barring some Cinderella-type story. But he's very interesting. And then some of these guys that are going to the portal, like, for example, we've talked in the past about Sam Leavitt, the Arizona State quarterback that I really like, who was banged up this year. He's in the portal.
Oh, is he? Okay, I didn't hear that.
If Dante Moore goes to
he'd be a good
the pros,
he'd
slide right into Oregon, and they don't skip a beat. And so, again, there's so much moving stuff here. Lenoris Sellers, sounds like he's staying at South Carolina. All reports.
Does that make sense to you?
No, it
doesn't.
Okay,
I was going to say that does not make sense.
I'm sure he's going to get a massive payday, and there is a part of me that loves the fact that, like, he's staying loyal to the school that believed in him and to his head coach, Shane Beamer, and all that. The college football purist in me kind of loves that
old school. That
he's not running away. But, man, he's another one who could go to one of these,
What if he went to Oregon?
What if he went to Oregon and, is a top 5 pick, number 1 overall pick next year? Because he's got traits, like, unbelievably. But his
surroundings didn't do him a whole lot of favors this past year.
In fact, the opposite. They were kind of weighed him down and sunk him to the bottom of the ocean there. Sounds like he's staying at South Carolina, like he's committed to that coaching staff. All they're doing is ironing out his contract, which still sounds hilarious to me when we talk about college football. Man. And speaking of that, Jada Miava, the USC quarterback, he signed his contract to return as a Trojan in 2026. So he'll be back with Lincoln Riley for another year. They'll be really good.
It looked like he needed work.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad decision.
But like USC put out a post, I think it was on Monday, of like it looks like Jada Miava being Jalen Ramsey and like he's sitting. He's sitting at a table at the facility. Jada Miava has signed his contract with USC in 2026, and I'm like, I hate this. I hate this so much. I hate this, but that's the world that we're living in. Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss quarterback. I mentioned this a little bit to you yesterday, but he did like his college football playoff media stuff ahead of their Saturday game against Tulane, and he was asked about his future, and he was very non-committal.
Mm-hmm.
NFL draft, transfer portal, all my options are on the table.
They're in the playoffs, so I mean, he can't say, but it sounds like he's probably taking off.
It sounds to me like he might be. Now, Lane Kiffin could be licking his chops to get a Sam Leavitt or one of these other portal guys that maybe he thinks he likes better. But if you made me put my chip down right now, Trinidad Chambliss returns to college football for one more year, and he's in Baton Rouge with his old head coach, Lane Kiffin.
Which would totally add up. I wouldn't blame anybody involved.
Which would even add more pizzazz to, I think it's week 6 or week 4 next year. LSU travels to Oxford to play at Ole Miss, and what is already going to be crazy, but even more so if Trinidad Chambliss is under center.
Do you think Ole Miss goes far in the playoffs?
I think they'll definitely beat Tulane.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think they're going to be in for...
They'll be a dog in the round 2.
Yes.
They're probably a big favorite.
And some of that coaching staff that is already committed to LSU to join Lane Kiffin is staying, and I give them all the credit in the world for that, for staying with their... But they're 1 foot out. Like, how much are they really?
You're gonna beat Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, right.
Like, I've got to talk to these portal kids to try and get them to sign to LSU while I'm trying to prepare for Texas A&M or whatever. You know, like
it's a terrible timeline.
Real tough place to be. Arch Manning returning to Texas in 2026.
I wonder if
official.
The way too early mock drafts, will he be 1-1?
Yes.
I would assume so.
Yes. Yeah. Now, there could be some, like, I think Lenore Sellers could factor into that conversation.
Oh, yeah. What if Moore goes back? Or, right.
Some of these other guys. But yes, in the Dane Brugler way too early 2026 mock, well, I guess it would be 2027 mock, but you get what I'm saying. He would absolutely be number 1.
Even over Sayin.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I think so. You could make a good faith argument for both, but I think so. Hayes King, NFL draft. He'll play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl for Georgia Tech against BYU, and then he's out of eligibility. He's off to the NFL draft. Same story with Carson Beck. He will play in the playoff game Saturday at noon. Miami at Texas A&M, Matt. That's a really good one.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Also, Marcel Reed, who he needs to put some meat on those bones. Mm-hmm. But I like his athleticism and his traits. The Texas A&M quarterback. He announced that he'll return to A&M for the 2026 season.
We would have been shocked if he came out, right? That seems early. Yeah. Okay.
Again, he's an exciting prospect.
Yeah.
He weighs 185 pounds. Like, he's 6'1", so he's not Bryce Young tiny.
Right,
but
skinny.
He needs another year in that program, strength and conditioning, feed him up all summer, add some meat to his bones, and then I think he could really be a fun prospect to discuss
this time next year. He might be a real fun conversation.
We talked about Mateer, Nussmeier, NFL draft.
Yeah.
Drew Aller, NFL draft. I haven't seen anything official for those two on Senior Bowl stuff yet, but it wouldn't be surprised me if that was coming soon. Mm-hmm. Cade Klubnik, the Clemson quarterback.
Do you even know if Aller's healthy yet?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Maybe he's there in like a Zach Frazier capacity. Remember with Zach?
I bet he's down there.
Zach broke his leg Thanksgiving weekend and then was still at the Senior Bowl and did some very light stuff, but that was about it. Could see something like that. Cade Klubnik, Clemson quarterback. I give him a ton of credit. He has accepted a Senior Bowl invite already. This year has not gone the way he wanted it to. He's dealt with some injury stuff, but he is going to play in their bowl game in the Pinstripe Bowl against Penn State. I give him a lot of credit for that.
He doesn't need to do that, right?
No, because I feel like really if he goes out there and has a strong performance, it's okay, well, it's a throwaway bowl game. It's Penn State who just hired a new coach and has a bunch of portal guys.
Does he have much to gain?
I don't think he has much to gain, but he could get hurt. He could have a bad game that ends up hurting him.
I mean, even if he's MVP of that game and it's the best player on the field, it
maybe moves the needle a little bit.
Slight,
but it seems like you have a lot more to lose than you do to gain.
Yes.
But I give him credit.
Okay.
The year hasn't gone the way for him or for Clemson. He's been.
I know they had huge expectations.
But I'm going to the Senior Bowl, and he will play. He wants to finish out his Clemson career on a positive note in that Pinstripe Bowl. And what is December 27th, I think. It'll be cold at Yankee Stadium in New York. Good for him. I give him a lot of credit. Sawyer Robinson.
Senior Bowl will be good for him, though, too.
Very good.
Yeah.
Sawyer Robinson, another guy. You know what, Matt? After the top guys conversation, Sawyer Robinson might be my pick for the guy that will work himself into first-round conversation by the time we're in Indianapolis
I could see that
in late February.
Right.
He's going to the Senior Bowl. I've told you this.
He might be the best quarterback at Senior Bowl. And then all of a sudden,
He's one of my favorites in this class. He's 6'4". He's got everything you can't coach. He's got crazy arm talent. He's got the ability to make all the throws. His decision-making and consistency leave much to be desired. He's got some mechanical upper body stuff. There's like some Josh Allen vibes there for me. He's got some major developing to do, but if he gets in the right spot, I think he can do that. He's one of those guys I wouldn't take a top 10 pick on him if I'm one of these teams that needs somebody to come in right away. But if I'm the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers comes back, if I'm the Rams and Matthew Stafford comes back,
right,
easy peasy.
See, that I don't know enough about these players yet, but I know an awful lot about how this thing works. And if he does well at the Senior Bowl, I promise you he'll start going in mocks to the Rams at 32.
Correct.
Rams took a tackle with 9, and then they'll just throw this away.
Absolutely.
Maybe he's an interesting project. And then by draft time, you and I are going to be like, well, the Steelers are going to have to trade up 6 picks to get Robertson.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how it works.
He's going to go 15th, 14th, something like that. Totally how it works, and he's the guy that I think could be that guy.
Okay.
Taylon Green, another possibility. I've mentioned him a lot to you. Was in a terrible situation in Arkansas.
Really good things about him.
Bobby Petrino ended up being the interim there and just didn't. They were just gas and or oil and water for some reason. It didn't work out. But
I listened to some Senior Bowl stuff saying he's another one that
has everything you
I'm
can't
not saying
coach.
he was going to be a top 20 pick or anything like we were talking about with Robertson.
I think, could be like a Tyler Shuck, top 50. He's got some even more
Milrow.
so than Robertson. He needs some real polish. But my goodness, does he have this?
You don't want him starting opening day of his rookie year,
Absolutely
of
not.
course.
But he's got arm strength. He's got athleticism like crazy, and he's 6'6", 230.
I'm going to say that's a trait.
He's got the traditional pocket passer build, but with the athleticism to move, and he had a really up and down year.
I'm glad you have him on here because I hadn't thought of Robertson, but I was thinking of who's going to be the risers because so many people are going back to school.
Yes.
And he was the name that's screaming at me.
Totally. Totally. Him and Sawyer Robinson, I think, will do very well for themselves in those Senior Bowl settings.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, Matt, we've discussed all these guys. I kind of told you, like, Sellers is not, like, committed to South Carolina, but still not official. Arch Manning's returning. Jaden Miava's returning. 2 guys on here that are in the portal, still unknown. They will be back in college football, but still unknown. Sam Levitt, who I mentioned to you.
Yeah.
I think he's going to end up at like an LSU or an Oregon.
He'll upgrade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would think he'd be really desirable.
He's the guy in the portal right now. If I could have any of them, he would be my pick.
Okay.
Unless Sellers were to enter, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case.
Like hypothetical, if you're like, I could grab somebody in the portal and stick him on WVU. It'd be him.
Sam Levitt.
Yeah,
buddy, absolutely. And actually, I think he'd fit pretty well in Rich Rod's offense too. So that would be an easy one. But yes, and then Brendan Sorsby, who's the Cincinnati quarterback who went on a tear in the middle of the season, fell off a little bit at the end. I still think he's got a lot of potential. He's in the portal.
Do you think he ends up in like a top 25 program?
Yes.
Okay.
He could end up at like, say, Trinidad Chambliss leaves Ole Miss.
Yeah, okay.
Somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Not maybe LSU or Alabama, but a really good program that's going to be in the top 25 and pay him. Miami maybe. Miami is probably another one who's in on the Sam Levitt sweepstakes.
Okay.
But it might be
their history's pretty strong of grabbing those guys.
It might be one of those like Sam Levitt right now. His phone is like Miami, Ole Miss, LSU, some really sexy people that are trying to swipe right on him, but they've all got Sorsby kind of on line too. Is like
he's the fallback plan,
and it's not a terrible fallback plan.
No, you'd be happy with either.
He's not a 4.0 valedictorian, but he'll get some A's and win you some games.
Yep.
So that's kind of it for the quarterback conversation.
Starting to at least get clear.
Starting to get a little bit clearer. Matt, I want to just follow up a little bit more. Let's take a break here.
Okay.
A little bit more on some playoff stuff and some prospects.
No, I definitely want to do some draft stuff right now.
Some draft prospects to keep an eye on, and we need to, of course, on a Wednesday here, steal a Detroit Lion for the Steelers roster.
Ooh.
One of our favorite new Wednesday exercises.
I always forget about that until you spring it on.
We'll do.
Okay.
That's why I like to spring it on you. I think it's good when we do it live here on the fly. We'll do all of that in the next segment as we get into this second hour of the program. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's all happening here on the Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Down the home stretch here, 2 more segments to go on this Wednesday show. And if you're watching on our YouTube page, as you always should be, Matt, just to see our handsome faces and all the wonderful camera work that our guy, Mr. TV, Tyler V, does, you'll notice I've switched chairs.
I was talking to you right here a minute ago.
Matt's looking the other way. I'm in a different chair. Producer Nathan got double booked. I mean,
I kind of did too. I'm going to be following him. He's leading the way for me. He's my lead blocker.
I will say, I love doing this show with you now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I miss my buddy Moats, just like you miss your buddy Dale. We all miss Dale. Change is good and change is tough at the same time, right?
Yep.
One thing that I do miss is, like, I used to be in this building same times. I'd get here 9:30 every morning. I'd leave like 3:30 every afternoon.
Yeah, we do some juggling.
Now it's every day is a different balancing act. And this show and that
Welcome
show.
to my life.
And Matt's got 7 shows, and Nate's got to leave early because he's got to produce something down at some clubhouse.
Yeah, and
show.
I'll be there by 6 o'clock with Tom and Tim and doing that. Right.
But we're light on our feet, baby. That's what it's all about. Much like
it's some juggling.
Much like the COVID.
And a Monday night always screws things up too.
That too. That's
everything
gets
like
5 days gets condensed into 4 days. And it's very much like the COVID year, Matt. You better be ready to play on a Sunday, sure, but you might play on Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in the afternoon, in the
next
evening.
week doesn't get either. It's Christmas.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
At least we get some time off in there.
Yeah.
It is Christmas next week, isn't it?
Yeah, that's gonna be some weird juggling too.
I got you a Christmas present already. I got to pick one. I got to pick one up. I got to pick one up. Don't give me anything. I got all I need. I got you guys. Come on, Matt. Before we get to our weekly exercise of steal a player from the Steelers' upcoming opponent, some final kind of around campus NFL draft stuff that I wanted to discuss with you. You brought this article to my attention, which I really liked.
It's laid out nicely, yeah.
And I think it's a good way to kind of tee up some of these 4 games this weekend. One Friday night.
4 this weekend.
One Friday night, 3 Saturday in college football.
Yes.
And with that, some non-quarterbacks to keep an eye on from
some early round picks.
Black and gold Steelers glasses, guys who might fit the bill for something the Steelers might be looking for this offseason.
A lot of people are going to be watching. You might as well pay attention to a couple of dudes that could be in black and gold.
Absolutely. For Ole Miss, one of them who really stands out to me is Xavier Harris. He's a defensive tackle. He does some nosy things, but he's versatile, and I think will translate well to the next level.
I think they'll still be in the market for more D-line.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I absolutely think so because
maybe not round 1, but, I mean, day 2 possibly.
As much as it feels like you hit a home run with Harmon.
Yeah.
And Y.A. Black looks like a nice piece. Keanu Benton looks like a nice piece.
I mean, it's not crazy to think Cam might retire after this year.
I was just going to say,
you don't know.
One thing we know about Cam Hayward is he's not going to play forever. And to use a Jerry Dulac analogy, he's much closer to the 18th green in the clubhouse than he is.
He might be on the 18th
the
green.
12th
We
hole.
don't know, right?
Yeah.
He might be on the 16th, but he's not on the 12th.
Ole Miss has produced some quality defensive linemen as of late. Walter Nolan last year, first-round pick.
Yeah, he's been very impressive how little he's been out there this year.
I think Xavier Harris could be a day 2 guy that could be a really nice find.
Okay. I actually don't know that name, so I'm excited. I'll pay attention to him in particular with that game.
I also really like, as a day 2 guy, Ole Miss's tight end, Daquan Wright. I just don't think the Steelers are going to be in that market.
What I can tell you is this is considered to be an excellent tight end class, which probably doesn't influence Steelers at all, but hopefully other teams are drafting them high,
They play Tulane 3:30 on Saturday.
Not the best game for prospects.
Not the best game
for playoff games go. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I am surprised they didn't make that the noon game, just to kind of because I think that's the least intriguing. I guess you could argue Oregon, JMU. I mean, it's a 21-point spread in a college football playoff game, but this is a 17.5-point spread.
How's Moats feeling about it?
You know what? It's funny. I haven't reached out. I've been meaning to do that.
He should be super psyched that they're in it.
Like I was gonna text him and be like, "So when are you leaving for Eugene? Like you flying out Friday?" But yeah, I've been. It's funny you say that because the last 4 days I've been like, I need to text Moats about JMU. I need to text Moats about JMU.
Big deal.
Texas A&M.
By the way, JMU doesn't have any prospects.
No, they do not.
not for
they
early.
All went to Indiana to follow Kurt Signetti.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through this in the way that the teams are ranked.
Oh, okay.
So Ole Miss, the highest ranked team that's
let's play in this weekend.
Or no, I guess Oregon technically is. But when we started with Ole Miss there, now we'll go to Oregon. They play Saturday night. That's a tough one because that's right up against Bears Packers.
I'll
right?
have to watch Bears Packers.
Is it Bears Packers Saturday night? Am I correct in that? Is that the?
Yes, I know that the first game's not great. It's Raiders somebody.
Commanders.
It is Bears Packers.
It is Bears Packers. Sorry to Oregon and James Madison. They'll be on the small TV in the basement. Oregon, obviously, Dante Moore and Kenyon Sadiq are first-round prospects. You mentioned Amori Washington.
I've seen him mocked the first a lot.
I think is late first, early second type guy. He's another one of those defensive linemen I think you would love to have. Keep an eye on, though, Emmanuel Pergon. I think that's how he pronounces his last name.
See the other lineman?
He's the interior guy.
Yes.
And if Sayamalu ends, I mean, we all know he's at least up after this year.
Yes.
If Sayamalu ends up, if they want to go to that day 2-ish, I think he's a guy to keep an eye on in that range.
Is there offensive tackle on there?
Isaiah World, yes. He's an early day 2 guy, I think. This is going to be a good tackle class.
Yes. So here's what I know about World was people had really high hopes for him because he had great traits, tackle traits, which will still get him drafted high. I mean, you don't have to be a good player if you have great tackle traits to be a pretty high pick. But a lot of people were disappointed with him this season for what he could have been to what he is now. But the interior guy stock is going the other way.
Yes.
Like he's been the much better player.
I think he's going to be a second round type. It's I mean, to be a guard and go in the first round, you got to be.
Oh, you're Faneca.
You're Quentin Nelson. I mean, you're really good.
But second round guys are expected to
Perfect
replace Seahawks right away.
Like the Zach Frazier range.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Plug him in, and I think he could be one of those guys that we'll be talking a lot about. He will be one of those guys we're talking a lot about as interior guys. One more for Oregon to keep an eye on. Dylan Thieneman, who is a safety for the Ducks, okay? And you know how I mentioned to you, like, Oregon's done a really good job of doing the Derek Harmon thing. Identifying a ready-made, this guy was at Michigan State for multiple years. We can plug him in. He's going to be a stud. He's going to be a first-round pick. Derek Harmon, boom. Thielemann was kind of one of those guys for them this year. Started his college career at Purdue, was a really good player in a really bad program. They brought him in there, plugged him into that defense, and he has been outstanding. 2 interceptions, 64 tackles, and we know the Steelers are going to have some.
I don't know what they're going to do in safety.
He could be like a day 3 guy, draft him there, plug him in next to Ramsey, have him sit behind Elliott for a year, and then he's ready to go type guy to keep an eye on.
I mean, we'll get into this stuff in the offseason, but I'm pretty confident Elliott and Ramsey are your starters next year. I don't know why you wouldn't consider bringing back Duggar.
I think that's a very good point.
Yeah, I mean, they might not be in the big safety market. I don't know. Yeah, you assume Killabrew's back.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, but maybe it's a 5th rounder or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what
maybe third. Maybe third's a little too early there.
Yeah, considering the other needs.
Yeah, a couple guys to keep an eye on here for Texas A&M. 2 interior offensive linemen once again that will be day 2 picks, Trey Zune and Chase Bastonis, both the 2 starting guards for A&M.
Okay.
Both are going to get drafted. Both, I would say, probably on day 2.
Okay.
Both worth
keep an eye on them.
Both certainly worth keeping an eye on. Matt, we've also talked a lot about wanting to add a hammer-type running back if Caleb Johnson ends up not being the answer for the Steelers.
It's not super encouraging at this point.
The guy that I really like is C.J. Donaldson, who I think will be a day 3 pick out of Ohio State, but they're not playing this weekend, so keep an eye on Le'Veon Moss. The last time the Steelers drafted a Le'Veon running back, it worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
I think he's an early day 3 guy, like a round A&M guy. Yep, round 4 type guy. He could fit the bill.
Yeah. Now, Gainwell's also a free agent. There's no guarantee he's back. But if Warren and Gainwell's back, they would only be in the market for a big guy, I would think.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Oklahoma. They produce some pretty good wide receivers. They've been known to do that. They've got 2 that I think are both going to be day 2 picks. They could always end up working their way up into the first round.
These aren't set in stone.
But I think they're more second, third round guys than first round guys. Keep an eye on Isaiah Stegna and Dion Burks on Friday night, the 2 wide receivers for Oklahoma. Man, as it relates to Alabama, they've obviously got a ton of dudes to keep an eye on.
We've talked about Simpson.
We've talked about Simpson, Caden Proctor. I don't think the Steelers are going to go offensive tackle in the first round, but he's a very intriguing prospect.
He's like 370. I mean, he's one of those huge, right?
A guy who could work his way into the end of the first round is Alabama wide receiver Jeremy Bernard.
Yes.
He's got some Deebo Samuel type qualities to him. He's one to keep an eye on, as is their other wide receiver, Isaiah Horton, who I think could be a day 2 guy.
Bernard's somebody I know more about, and people look at this as a negative. It's not. He's projected to be a really strong number 2 receiver, which would be great opposite Metcalf. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Jam Miller is another one of those, I think, early day 3 running backs out of Alabama.
Okay.
Who could, again, if you want to go to that well in the draft
hope
once
you don't
again.
Need to,
hope you don't need to, but if you need to, I think that's the range you're looking for, 4th, 5th round.
Yeah.
And he's one to keep an eye on.
You hope maybe you just need to throw a 6th round pick that and let him and Johnson battle it out. Who knows? But again, off-season talk.
Miami has a couple of studs in the trenches.
He's going to go high.
Ruben Bain might be the first defensive player drafted.
Go high, yeah.
Francis Muaga, I think it'll be him or Fanu from Utah, who's the first offensive tackle drafted. It'll be one of those 2. Also,
some thinks he might be a guard, but he probably will be a tackle unless proven otherwise, because that's just how the league works.
I really like Akeem Messidor from that Miami team as well as a day 2 edge rusher. He's a guy who started his career at WVU and then got a huge bag from the Hurricanes to move south to better weather. He feels like he could work his way to the first round, but in more likelihood an early day 2 pick. Mark Fletcher, I like the running back there, is a potential day 3 guy for the U. And then they've got some wide receivers that, is later round picks worth keeping an eye on. C.J. Daniels and Cleland Marion. Some speed down there, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
For Tulane, again, it's a little thin here as you get to the end of the list, but Shadre Hurst is a guard for Tulane,
okay.
and he could be a top 100 pick.
Okay,
He's not going to go in the first or second round, but he could go in the third round, fourth round range.
Okay, well, that's definitely worth watching.
He's a legit prospect at guard that's worth keeping an eye on. With all due respect to Arthur Moats, I don't really know who to say for JMU.
No, I know there's nobody listed.
There's not many there, and that's why they're a 21-point underdog against Oklahoma on the road in Eugene. But listen, I don't know how I feel about 2 G5 teams getting into the playoff, Matt. I like the fact that there's one there. I do.
I respect that. And some years they have a better chance than others.
And we've seen in the past, we've seen the Boise States of the world
I'd say Boise
knock
State.
off some. Hey, 20 years ago, WVU was that team. In the Big East, and teams like Pitt and UConn and Louisville, like they would get to that stage and people would be like, "Oh, the Big East stinks." And then WVU knocks off Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, and Louisville knocks off somebody, Cincinnati knocks off somebody. So I like having the quote-unquote non-traditional conferences and powers in some capacity.
Yeah.
But I don't know about 2 teams. That might be.
I don't get too deep into it, but I'm sure a lot of people would rather watch Notre Dame, obviously.
Or BYU,
You're right.
or Vanderbilt. But yeah, certainly.
But I'm glad that they get a crack.
I'm glad that they get a crack, but it might be too much of a crack. I wonder if that's.
Just sitting here as a viewer, I'm like. Tulane and JMU.
So last year with the way that the system was set up, you had to win your conference to get a first round bye. So that led to Arizona State and Boise State both getting first round byes, which of course the SEC and the Big Ten looked at that and said, "No way, cousin, that can't happen."
We'll be favored by 14 points over these guys.
Even though Arizona State took Texas to overtime, and Boise State, okay, they kind of got handled by Penn State, but. That was the big change from the first year of the 12-team playoff, was like anybody can get a bye. It's just the 4 highest seeds. Forget the conference.
That's probably the best.
I think the next change is going to be they're going to make it a little...
Like last year, Indiana and Ohio State would not have got a bye.
Correct. Just Indiana. And so Ohio State would be hosting a game on campus.
Right now. Yeah.
Yes.
As the 5 seed.
And so I think the next change that the big bad SEC and Big Ten are going to push for is... something about the automatic qualifying situation for the G5s.
Really?
Like they're going to look at it like
this was a cute experiment, but nobody cares.
Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, BYU,
yeah.
Even 9-3 Texas, who I think if you have 3 losses, you should be out of the conversation completely. But who's going to sell more money? Who's going to get more eyeballs? You know that this is all politics. It's all politics now.
Oregon, Notre Dame would sell pretty well.
Oregon, Texas.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So I still want the Cinderella representation. It's a big part of March Madness, and I think this is kind of moving in that direction.
64 teams.
But what I really want more than anything is just defined parameters to make the playoff.
Yeah. Which will be tough.
You might get a 9-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers who gets in, but at least there's no committee. There's no committee going, well, Detroit went 10-7. Why is Tampa Bay getting in at 9-8?
Right.
Yeah, but that's obviously that toothpaste is out of the tube with the SEC and the Big Ten picking apart all the conferences, and they're just never going to agree to something like that now when they could go ahead and get 4 or 5 teams in every single year. Mm-hmm. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for tomorrow night, Seahawks and Rams.
Oh, yeah.
Friday night, Alabama.
Put 2 and 2 together, how from Thursday to Monday night, got really good football.
I cannot wait. Matt, we got a couple minutes left here in this segment. Let's go ahead and do what's become one of our new favorite exercises. Take a look at the Steelers' upcoming opponent and steal somebody for their roster. Mm-hmm. I'm sure most of you know this drill by now, but there's a couple rules. No quarterbacks. Although I don't think that would be a factor here.
Not at his age, right?
This is, you are taking this player on for the foreseeable future. This is not just like I'm adding him for this year type thing. You have
contract, age,
you're taking
injuries,
their contract, their age, their injuries, all that stuff. You are completely taking this player and everything attached to them from the upcoming opponent. And Matt, there's some real. I mean, we could probably do a half an hour on this because there's probably 8 or 9 or 10 guys that you could make a legitimate argument for here on Detroit.
I'll make a couple bullet points on all of them, but my answer is very clear in the end.
Okay.
Brian Branch is injured, and he's a wonderful do-it-all modern day nickel, and he's on a rookie deal. So
for another year or two. Yeah,
which is great. Hutchinson on defense is the other defensive guy I would consider
Big
because he's
money,
awesome.
big money, but he's awesome.
He's awesome at a premium position.
It's like the Jamar Chase conversation. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to break the bank for this guy, but he's really stinking good.
But if the Steelers weren't so good at edge, he'd probably be my pick. But obviously he'd be helpful, but now Highsmith and Herbig are on the bench. I mean, I'm not adding an edge unless it's, the Browns, we took Garrett, of course.
Sure.
Because they didn't have anything else.
And that's also because they don't have much else.
Yeah, this roster's a lot better to pick from. Jamison Williams and St. Brown are both really attractive.
Yes, they are.
And the only reason that they're in the same breath is Williams is cheaper right now. But St. Brown's better.
Oh.
And St. Brown would be a wonderful Hines Ward-like Steeler. I mean, slot, outside. I mean, he's the first receiver. You'll see it in the stats when I send you. 5 straight years with 90-plus catches. It's the first time it's ever been done. I mean, and he's a dog.
And Jared Goff is good, but he doesn't have Pat Mahomes throwing him the football.
No, right. I mean, he's awesome. Jahmyr Gibbs would be an incredible addition for anybody.
And he's still on his rookie contract for a couple more years.
Contract. Like, if you said, Matt, you got to build a team around a running back in this league right now, it'd either be Bijan or Gibbs.
Because they're so young.
Because they're so young. And
versatile, do-it-all skill sets.
Yes, cheap. I mean, awesome. But the pick is Sewell. And
I had a feeling that's where you were going.
And it reminds me of the Bears conversation.
I thought you might go Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
Though.
I danced around this with the Bears because I really love Wright, the right tackle for the Bears. But I'm like, well, I don't want to move Troy. He's been great. But if you ask me, blank slate, I'm an expansion team, I get one offensive lineman walking the planet to build around. It's Penei Sewell. Because he's awesome. He's young. And Troy, sorry, you got to move to the left. But you'll figure it out, and we'll have that guy.
Yeah.
And they're the best bookends maybe in the league. I don't care that he's expensive.
I'm with you. Like, Aiden Hutchinson would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think Branch and Joseph, both the safeties, are worth conversation.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin loves Jack Campbell. I mean,
he's had a phenomenal year. He's going to be an all-pro, not a Pro Bowler.
At a position that's hard to find that level of quality.
And he's ahead of the curve in terms of young guys usually don't get it as quickly as he did.
I really would love Jahmyr Gibbs or Amon-Ra St. Brown to be my answer because the Steelers' offense is crying out for another playmaker of that level.
We always thought they need more explosives.
But Penei Sewells don't grow on trees. And he's like in his mid-20s. He's
younger than you think.
He could play at a high level for another 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And I know he just got the big contract extension, but
I don't care.
You're paying for one of the best tackles in the world.
Right. If you get 8 to 10 years of that guy.
I'm with you.
Right now it's him and Lane Johnson, but Lane's not going to be in his way much
but
longer.
Lane's
the best
8 years
tackle.
older.
Right.
I'm with you. It's not a easy one, but it's I think easier than you think. But if you would say Jahmyr Gibbs or Amon-Ra St. Brown, I wouldn't fight you. But it has to be someone from the offense.
But if there's 31 teams in this, Penei Sewell's still one of my top 7 or 8 picks.
Yes.
I'd take Jamar Chase over him just because of need. But there isn't another lineman. Maybe you'd take Alt, but he's injured just because he's left. But this guy is a bird in the hand. He is a stud.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he would fit into the Steelers'
big time
offensive scheme, I think, very well. That's the answer. But there's some guys, even like a Jamison Williams, you could make an argument for. There's some
awesome Steelers.
There's some really, really good ones to choose from. But I think we're both landing on Sewell and having no regrets about that. We'll wrap this thing up when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here, and we have a very special guest joining us now, Steelers running back Jaylen Warren. Jaylen, it's a short week. It's a busy week. Thank you so much for taking the time here for us today. And just got to start asking by how you're feeling. We know you were dealing with some sickness on Monday night against the Dolphins. I think you mentioned, being ready to go home and get a bunch of sleep in. Hope you're feeling better and doing well here today on this Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I feel great. Obviously sickness, everybody's had one, doesn't feel good, but I'm doing as good as can be. It's definitely getting better.
Good. That's what I like to hear, and we're hopeful for that. Obviously, ahead of a big one against the Detroit Lions team this weekend. Going to need all hands on deck for that, and kind of sticking with that. Last couple weeks, I think a ton of improvement on your guys' side of the football. You know, this is the time of year when you want to be hitting your stride and hitting your peak. Does it feel like this offense is coming together at the right time?
Yeah, yes, sir. You know, everybody making plays as we knew. We knew all year. It's just coming to fruition right now, and I'm glad it's, you know, being displayed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's got a lot of people excited about, you know, where this thing could continue to go here in the month of December as, you know, that road narrows and the playoff push gets closer and closer. And I got to think, Jaylen, like just in general, you guys, a ton of confidence in that running back room right now. Yourself, Kenneth Gainwell, Caleb Johnson starting to get more and more in the fold here. I got to think, you know, along with Eddie Faulkner, you guys are just in a really good spot right now.
Yeah. You know, it starts with, you know, our coaching. The coach, you know, he gets us done, gets us well prepared for the week. And, you know, as professionals, we do our things. We look out for each other, give each other tidbits, you know, throughout the week, help each other where whatever we see on film. And we just go out there and ball on Sunday.
Gotta love it, and hoping for more of that this Sunday against the Lions. Jaylen, last one for you before we let you go. Just what it's been like here. You know, you're now deep into this thing, into December with Aaron Rodgers. It's getting to be crunch time. It's getting to be, as you mentioned, that time of year where you want all the tidbits and all the information. What's it like having a guy like that, you know, 4-time MVP, future Hall of Famer, one of the best point-blank, period, quarterbacks ever in NFL history? I got to think it's a huge benefit having that guy in your corner, having that guy on your team this time of year.
Yeah, it's good. You know, good feeling knowing we got that guy on our side of the ball, especially when it comes down to, you know, this time of the year. Obviously, he's been in a lot of games like this, a very important one, so he knows what it takes, and whatever he says, that's kind of the spirit we move in.
Steelers running back Jaylen Warren. Jaylen, glad you're feeling better. Thank you so much for the time. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you as well, and go get those Lions on Sunday. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Happy holidays.
There he goes. Steelers running back Jaylen Warren, kind enough to give us some of his time here on a busy portion of the season. We were hoping to make that one work for you today here on the drive. A lot of moving parts on the drive today, but thanks to everyone on Steelers PR for getting that there. I was going to promote that throughout the show, but we weren't sure we were going to be able to make it happen, so a nice little surprise for you all. A few minutes there with Jaylen Warren as we kind of put the end of today's show, the finishing touches on today's program. And that will do it for us today. So big thank you to Chris Halicke and Jaylen Warren for joining us, Steelers PR, Ange and everybody for setting that one up for us. A big thank you to Nathan for producing most of the show until he had to go and I had to slide in here. Big thanks to TV. TV's the only one here. We started with 4 in the studio. We've cut that number in half. It's just me and TV. Big thanks to our video producer, Tyler V, as always. And for my co-host, Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.